Hello and welcome to the Manga Den. This is the room I have most of my bookshelves of manga in, and where hopefully I'll be filming from now on, now that I have like actual YouTuber stuff like a ring light and a tripod, things I should have bought before I started my channel, but I thought I don't need those things.
It's so dumb.
It's so dumb, it's brilliant.
No! It's just dumb.
I did need those things. So anyway, hello, welcome back, or welcome if you're new. My name is Zoe, and this is my channel, Ms. Manga, where I talk about all things manga related that I've been reading, that I think are interesting and worth talking about. And yeah, so if you are interested, please subscribe. It would mean so much to me. And yeah, today we're going to be talking about the completed series that are 6 volumes or longer that I read in 2022. And if you did not see my last video, that was my top 10 manga I read in 2022, which covers all of the ongoing manga I've been enjoying and short series. So please check that one out if you haven't already. And I'll put a link somewhere in here. So yeah. And I read a decent amount. So I've set it up where I'm going to be talking about first the series that I would label as just okay. And there's nothing wrong with them. They're still perfectly enjoyable reads. I had fun reading all of them. But I found them to be more average, mid reads. Like I would rate them 3.5 stars out of 5 type of reads. And then I'm going to be moving on to my enjoyable reads category, where these are reads that, weren't my favorite, but I had a fun time reading. I would recommend, if they sound interesting to you, to go check out for sure. And I gave them more of like a 4.5 star rating out of 5. And then I'll have some special categories thrown in, as well as my top 5 picks of series that I read in 2022. So yeah, I hope you enjoy. First up, we have Devils and Realist. Now, this is a supernatural manga that takes place in England, I believe, and is about a boy named William who he finds out he doesn't have that much money, and he really wants to attend this, or continue attending this prestigious private school in England. So that is where we find William, and then he meets the devils. So the devils, they need to choose a new devil, like king, ruler of all of hell. And so they come to him and are like, hey, we're some devils, pick one of us to be the leader. And he's like, I don't believe in devils, that's stupid. Even though it's right in front of him. That's his personality, because he believes in science and realism, and this stuff seems too out there for him. But the devils say that if he helps them choose the next candidate for hell, then for like the king of hell, then they will somehow, I don't know how they have money, but they will finance his schooling. So William decides to go along with it. Yeah, it was a fun series. Like, it's a kind of shonen style action series, with there's battles between heaven and hell as it goes along, and their battles impact the human world, which I really would have liked more of in the story, but it's only like touched upon a few times here and there briefly, but I found really interesting. And yeah, it's a little bit of a slow start. I didn't really warm up to William's personality because he's so like denial, and it's like, dude, these devils are right in front of your face. Like, wake up, just accept it. But he doesn't for a while. And yeah, but by like the 4th volume, I was really enjoying it, and I liked a lot of the characters, and it has like a little vibe, I want to say, of Shonen Ai, which, if you don't know, is like a light boys love vibe. especially between William and Dentalian, one of the devils, one of like the first ones that contacts him. I don't know if it's just my boy loving brain that's like reading into this, or if there's really like, but I ship it. I ship it. So yeah. And then, oh, and then my favorite boy is Cameo. He's great. I don't know why. It's just like, I can't even explain it. Usually I don't like the like studious, more like by the books character, I guess he would be, but he's got an interesting past, and yeah, I don't want to spoil too much, but he's like super handsome, so yeah, I mean, there's that too. The ending for me kind of fell off a bit. It was like there was a big battle, but you know, my heart wasn't really like, like, you know, sometimes a big battle like with a shonen or something, I'll actually be like, I hope everything's okay. I know it's fiction, but like I hope all the characters that love make it out. This one I was like, let's battle. Cool. Cool. And yeah, it hasn't really stuck with me much except for Cameo because he's great. And I mean, the guys are hot, so like, yeah, other than that, it's like this story hasn't stuck with me. I haven't thought back on it, so that's why I would stick it in this category. Just okay. But I still really enjoyed the read, and art's gorgeous. And yeah, if you like fantasy, supernatural, devils and angels kind of story, then check it out. It's up to you. And we have Girl from the Other Side. So this one is an interesting read. It's definitely different and out there. There's like a separation between the humans inside, and then there's the outside. And the outside is dangerous, and it's like people don't want to go outside because there's these like twisted beast like creatures, and they believe, if like the humans believe, if they touch the beast like creatures, they themselves will turn into a beast. So yeah, that's kind of the world, and it's a very interesting concept. And then we're following a small child human girl and one of these twisted beasts, and he's obviously not so much of like a monster as maybe like the humans believe them to be, because he's trying to take care of this small girl that was essentially abandoned in the woods. And it's a little bit of slice of life, like a slice of their life in the beginning, but then it kind of evolves, and there's like more like weird twisty things happening. And it's interesting. Like, it's definitely an interesting concept. It was an interesting read, but pretty much like all the like reveals or the twists I kind of either figured out, or like I theorized something that I thought was more interesting than what was real, which is, that's a me problem, because you know, just read the book. Stop trying to figure it out. But yeah, I still like found it really enjoyable. It's like just a more quiet, atmospheric read with just like these little mysteries sprinkled in about the world itself. You know, why are these twisted beast creatures here, and all that. I just like it. It was maybe I'm just dumb because it seemed like a little too high concept for me. I was trying to wrap my brain around it at the end, and I'm just kind of like, does this make sense? Am I just the dumb one here? So I don't know. If you read it, please tell me how you feel, because maybe I just completely missed the point. There were interesting pieces, but cohesively, I didn't kind of feel like it all came together that much in the end. But yeah, and yeah, so I don't know if I'd ever read it again. Like, the other one had like, Devil and Reels had like fun elements to it and hot guys, so there's like the attraction of like, yeah, maybe I'll read it again. But definitely not like a go-to right away. This one, I'm like, I mean, I still like think about it from time to time because it was interesting. And the art is really cool. Like the art is dark and creepy and very interesting and definitely leads into that atmosphere that the whole, series has. But I don't know if I'll read it again. I gave it to my friend for uh, their birthday. So I don't know, but they came out with these gorgeous hardcovers and I'm really tempted to buy them. And it's like, don't, don't do that. Me, don't do that. But I have no shame, and they're really pretty, and I might ask for them for presents or buy them because they're like leather bound looking and real gorgeous. So next up in the just okay category, we have Devil's Line. So this one is a vampire story. I love vampire stories. They're called devils, but like essentially, they want to suck humans' blood. They are a vampire. They're just not referred to as that so much in the story. But I really like the beginning. I really do. It's just, for me, the second half is just okay. And that's why it's in this category. So yeah, and we start off with Tsukasa. She's a college student, and on her way home, she is attacked by a devil and rescued by another devil. And his name is Anzai. I think I'm saying that right. He works with the police in like a special, what do you call it, like subsection of the police, like a special task force that's designed just to deal with these devil attacks and issues with devils. So then they meet, and there's this instant spark. I really like the two of them together. It's kind of like a will they, won't they, forbidden love kind of aspect, because Anzai is a devil. So his desire to drink human blood, it's a wee bit of a problem in their proposed relationship, It's just a tiny problem. But anyway, so the will they, won't they aspect's cute. They're both cute characters. I really like the art style. It might not be for everybody. It's a bit dark line, jagged kind of edges. Yeah, I'll just put some examples up for you. But yeah, it's not everyone's cup of tea, and there are some faces and some panels that I go, well, that's a bit wonky. Might have fixed that before you publish it, but it's okay. Yeah, just here and there. And overall, I think the art's really cool. And yeah, so overall, I do really like Anzai and Tsukasa's dynamic relationship. I like the mysteries that are presented. This faction, this group of people, humans, want to like reveal devils to the world, because essentially devils are kind of like how we think of vampires, like a myth, like not real. So few humans know about them. And this faction starts to try and reveal devils to the mass public. And I thought that was really interesting. And Anzai's backstory seemed really interesting. So there was these two interesting concepts. And for me, it peaked like halfway through, maybe like 10 volumes through or so. And then it just kind of to the end. And I'm like a person that likes to go out with a bang, like I want my story to end like, oh yeah, that was good, that was satisfying. And then maybe have like, a little bit afterwards, a little bit of a tying up loose ends. But like, I was anticipating more, and it just kind of, yeah. So I don't think it's a bad read by any means, but the ending just didn't hold up, I feel like, the rest of the series. To me, personally. That's a personal opinion. Yeah, and I also would say I'd recommend this read to older teens. It's probably on the book itself, but it's definitely mature, and especially as it goes on, there is some smexy scenes, some parts shown, some girl parts. shown, of course. Not the guy. But yeah, so that is part of it. If you've been warned. And there's also some gore and some blood, and it's vampires we're talking about, so there's gonna be some of that. So those are the warnings on that series and my feelings on it. Last up in the just okay category is number 6. And I really do feel bad about putting it in the just okay. I mean, I feel bad for all the series, to be honest. Like, it feels mean. It's not the lowest it can go, by the way. Like, in the special categories, they are my least favorite reads. These are not my least favorite reads, but they were just okay reads to me. And I just couldn't rate number 6 higher than like a 3.5. Like, I'm sorry. So number 6 is like a dystopian setting where this city, essentially the walled city called number 6, is supposed to be of course, utopia, the best thing that ever was. Like, no problems here, we're all cool. Of course there's problems. It's tons of problems. And so yeah, one of the main characters, Shion, he suddenly gets roped into these problems. Like, he's not actively looking for anything or whatever, but circumstances being what they are, he's kind of roped into them, and then is essentially going to be put into like a maximum security prison because now he's seen things he shouldn't, or yada yada. So he is rescued by Rat, and they end up outside of the walled city in like what is essentially like the slums outside of number 6. And now that he knows number 6 isn't such a great place, the perfect utopia place, he kind of wants to take it down from the inside. And so that's kind of the trajectory of the story, with Rat being kind of like, I don't know about this plan, which is fair. It's a big undertaking. But yeah, and so this is a shonen ai, which I mentioned before, and that's like a light boys love. And I really like their dynamic and their relationship. Yeah, I liked all the characters. His story to me felt, well, their plan was kind of like, it was like non-existent, and then once they like decided to do it, it was kind of felt rushed, and then at the like climax of it all, it just kind of felt like anticlimactic. I don't know, like the last volume kind of made me just kind of go, oh, okay, well, that's nice. It was cute, and yeah, I found it a little unsatisfying, but overall it was still enjoyable. Like I said, I enjoyed all these reads. So yeah, if you have any particular feelings, let me know. And with that, we'll move on to the enjoyable reads category. And first up in that is Smoke and Parade. And I actually like made sure to put it first because it was so close between just okay and enjoyable. I would in the end give it a 4-star because I'm a sucker for the duo that does Smoke and Parade, and then they did one of my favorite like shonen battle type stories, which is Dead Man Wonderland. Love it to death. This one to me didn't feel as cohesive. Smoke and Parade felt like they wanted to have another 10 volumes and were told, no, sorry, you have to end it here. Halfway through, kind of introduce a whole other arc where they go meet a whole another cast of characters, and like how a shonen does, they go, meet new characters, and you grow your cast of characters out. But that's the only time they do it, so it kind of feels wasted. It doesn't really add much to the story in the end, even though I love one of the characters that they meet there, and she's my favorite. But yeah, they don't really play a big role in the final battle, which comes like 2 volumes or maybe less after they get back from there. So it feels really rushed in the end. Anyway, so Smoke and Parade is a series that takes place in this world where organ transplants are just common and available. There's this company that takes care of it all for you. And it's really like it's just like a basic procedure, and you can like get like not just like a liver transplant, but like leg transplants, like easily, like and that's where our story begins. Oko lives with his wheelchair bound sister Mirai, and then Mirai gets one of these special organ transplants from this technology, and so she gets new legs so she can walk and run and do everything again, and it was great, except there's apparently a percentage of these transplants, I'm struggling with the word transplants that do not I guess like mesh with the whole person. Like it's kind of just makes them go crazy and turns them into a monster. So yeah, that happens, and then Yoko gonna be killed essentially by his sister, except for that he is saved by this group called the Jackalopes, and because Yoko got like I think his arm and his leg tore off, he also wants to work with them and fight with them against this organization. So he gets their like prosthetics instead of the transplants like his sister got. He gets these prosthetics, which are like modified body parts that are part body part weapon. So yeah, it's really cool concept. It's really interesting. It can be sad, you know. Obviously, the first volume starts out like that, so it's like, oh yeah. I really loved the gritty, dark, gory tone and the characters of this series so much. So it got, and of course, I love their art style. It's so good. And yeah, I would say it's like more rated 16 plus because of like the gore grittiness, but I'm sure, you know, younger people will read it too. I mean, I probably would have read it when I was younger. It's just a fun read. Second, in the enjoyable category, we have Platinum End. Now, I never hear anybody talking about this. It's from the same mangaka as Death Note. I have to make a confession. I am not a huge Death Note stan. I'm sorry about that. So I wasn't like, that wasn't the reason I would pick this series up. But yeah, I ended up picking up because of the covers. The covers are so pretty. And you can't like see it in pictures, but they're also like holographic. So like in the light, they're shiny and colorful. Oh, so pretty. I am a cover buyer. Pretty covers. They're kryptonite to me. So yeah, I picked it up and I surprisingly enjoyed it a lot. I enjoyed it more than Death Note. But yeah, it's a shonen. We have the story of Platinum End is that I guess there needs to be a new god. The god is weak or something. And so he sends angels down to Earth to pick god candidates, and these candidates have the ability to become the next god. And there's things like they get arrows and halos, or arrows and wings, sorry, and the wings, they can fly and like really fast, like faster than the speed of light, and the arrows, they can do different things, like there's red arrows and white arrows, and the white arrows, you can have somebody be under your control, make them do what you want. Red arrows kill people. So those are the magical things that they give to the human candidates, and depending on an angel's rank, you get more or less of these items. So you might just get wings, or you might just get arrows, you might get both. But angels can pick any candidate, any human they want to be candidate. but that person has to be on the verge of, I can't say it, so that is, of course, triggering to people, and I understand that. And it does play a large role in the series because that is the point they're at mentally. And some of these people, as you go on, you can see that they're still struggling. You know, mental health is a very real issue. It's not like, oh, I get magic powers now, I no longer have mental health problems, like just went away. It's not how it works. And I respect the story for not having it be like a cure-all for everyone. Like, yes, some of the people, it fixes their problems, their reasons to want to maybe end things, but for some of them it doesn't. And yeah, so I think it's really interesting. The concept's interesting. And as the story progresses, I look at it as two parts of the story, which it feels cohesive, like the movement from one part of the story to the other. But the first part is more of like a battle royale, who's gonna become God by killing other God candidates. So I enjoy a battle royale. I enjoy survival type manga, so that was fun. We had a more surface level. And then we kind of evolved through the second half to become more of a philosophical quandary of what is God? Is there God? Is this, I mean, there's angels, but what is this God? And like, if you don't have a problem with the idea of God being kind of questioned, yeah, I think it's really interesting. I like how it became a more high concept story in the second half, and that the transition to it felt really natural, actually, because there are these different candidates for gods with different viewpoints on the situation. My only issue with the story is I don't like the characters. Like, I don't dislike the characters. I think they're well written. I think they're multidimensional. I think they feel like people with real emotions, real, you know, I'm not saying they're written badly in any capacity. I just don't connect with them. I like this one character the most, but I mean, I don't even remember his name. These characters are all well written. I don't know. Maybe because it's so much more of like a serious story. The characters they're not as enjoyable to me. But yeah, that was my only gripe with the story. I thought the ending was really interesting. And yeah, the whole journey throughout was good. Overall, really enjoyable. It's just like, just couldn't really like love, connect, or really like root for any specific characters. I just enjoyed the ride. The plot carried the story for me enough to make it into the enjoyable category. Last up in the enjoyable category, we have A Kiss for Real. And now this one's an online only publication. It hasn't been published in print. If it does, I will buy it. I really did enjoy it that much that I would own a physical copy. But yeah, so if you want to read it, just letting you know, it's only available on digital platforms. But anyway, this is a story about Chitose, and she's a high school girl, and she goes through high school kind of wearing a mask and not really finding her passions, not really like showing people who she really is. And it works for her until she meets Itsuki, and he calls her out on it, and it's kind of a bit of a jerk in the beginning. I like the trope enemies to lovers. I didn't feel like this was full on enemies, but they definitely was tension to lovers, which I enjoy. But yeah, he calls her out on it. He's like, yeah, you're not very interesting. You're just faking it. And I have to admit, I kind of really related to this story personally on a personal level, which probably made me enjoy it even more. She, bonds with Itsuki, and she gets a wake-up call in high school. And yeah, so this kind of like helps her actually try and figure out what she likes and what she wants to do in her life and what she cares about, and to pursue it. And it also, doesn't hurt that she's interested in Itsuki, and now, they kind of called her out, and so she might also want to like do things that gets her around him. It's a twofer. So I really liked how it worked on both levels, how it worked like on a personal, like finding your passions and exploring your interests, and also on a cute romance relationship level. Very cute. And yeah, I liked both of the characters a lot. And if you were just looking for something cute, sweet, romance read, then I would definitely check this one out. So I was worried, and I had a right to be worried, because I talk too much. I get too excited about manga, and then I talk too much. And I also read too much last year, which isn't a bad thing, but going through them all is just going to make too long a video. So I've decided to split them into parts. So this is part 1, and then part 2 will cover my top 5 along with my least favorite reads and some honorable, like, special categories that I've made up. So if you would like to be notified when that drops, then hit that bell. From now on, I'm going to be talking about completed series I read quarterly, so that I can go more in depth, have like a spoiler section. But for the wrap up of last year, there's so many to cover. It just wasn't feasible to do that. But yeah, I really appreciate you all for watching this far, and I hope you enjoyed. And leave a comment down below if you've also read any of these series. And yeah, thank you, and have a lovely week. Bye!